Hey there! Artifacts are one of the most important things in Genshin Impact to make your character strong and do big damage. So without further ado, let's get started. In order to understand artifacts, you need to start with understanding a character's basic stats. There are three main stats that each character uses to maximize their playstyles. There's HP, attack, and defense. Characters usually skill off of these three stats. Then, there's ER, or Energy Recharge, and EM, or Elemental Mastery. Energy Recharge increases the amount of energy regenerated, which is needed for a character's elemental burst. A burst consumes a certain amount of energy, which is accumulated over time when you fight. You know your burst is ready when the button is all glowy. Elemental Mastery can strengthen the benefits you gain when working with elemental reactions. Elemental reactions are what you get when you combine the 7 elements of Teyvat. Here's a visual of them so you can pause the video if you want to take time to look at it. As of version 5.1, you can categorize the elemental reactions into 3 categories. Amplifying reactions come from 2 elemental reactions, Melt and Vaporize. These reactions do not create additional damage of their own, but rather multiply the damage of attacks that trigger them. Transformative reactions make up most of the elemental reactions in game. Overloaded, Shattered, Electrocharge, Superconduct, Swirl, Burning, Bloom, Hyperbloom, and Burgeon. When these reactions occur, they have their own instance of damage that is separate from the attacks that trigger them. Crystallization occurs when Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, or Electro interact with Geo and create a crystallized shard. If you go and pick up the crystallized shard, you gain a crystallized shield. Additive reactions come from the elemental reaction of combining Electro and Dendro, which are Spread and Aggravate. These reactions add a certain value of damage to the attacks that triggered it. Then, among your advanced character stats, that is considered to be the most important, there's your crit damage and crit rate. Crit damage is how much extra damage is dealt when a crit hit occurs. Crit rate is how often a crit hit occurs. Now onto the main subject, artifacts. On artifact, there is a main stat and up to 4 substats. These can also be referred to as affixes. Each of your characters can hold up to 5 artifacts, each of a different type. There are flowers, plumes, which the community calls a feather, sands, goblets, and circlets, but some people call them a crown. Artifacts can be leveled up, and depending on their quality, which is the number of stars, they have different max levels, all at intervals of 4. Artifacts are given a base of 3 or 4 substats when they are level 0. The given affixes cannot change, but if it has only 3 substats when it is level 0, you gain another random substat when at level 4. To level up your artifacts, you can either trash and lower rated artifacts, Sanctifying Unction, or Sanctifying Essence, which you can get from the Battle Pass, the Realm Depot in your Samurai Teapot, or endgame events. When you level up an artifact to one of the multiples of 4, you call it rolling an artifact, because it's basically gambling for substats. Each of the artifact types have their own main stats. 2 artifacts have their own set main affixes, flowers with flat HP, and feathers with flat attack. Sands can have attack percentage, HP percentage, defense percentage, energy recharge, or elemental mastery. Goblets can have 12 different types of main affixes. HP percent, defense percent, attack percent, elemental mastery, or physical hydro, pyro, cryo, dendro, electro, animal, geo, damage bonuses. Circlets can have HP percent, defense percent, attack percent, elemental mastery, crit rate, crit damage, or healing bonus. In addition to that, there's also something called an artifact set bonus. Each artifact belongs to a certain set, and when you have 2 or 4 artifacts belonging to a certain set, your character gains the bonus. As you can see here, because my Wanderer has a 4-piece Desert Pavilion Chronicle set, they gain both the 2-piece and the 4-piece bonus. On Arlecchino, however, I have 2 different sets, Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy and the Gladiator's Finale, so I gain both 2 set piece bonuses. In the stats of your artifacts, try to avoid flat numbers on your artifacts, like this artifact has attack plus 19, but this artifact has a percentage attack. Percentages are much better, because rather than adding to your stats, they multiply them, resulting in higher and much better stats. There are many ways to obtain artifacts, but one of the most common ways is spending a consumable known as resin, which recharges over time. As of version 5.1, the resin capacity is 200, but you can spend fragile resin to give you 60 resin each, although it's highly recommended that you don't use it unless you really need it and can't wait. You use this resin to get artifacts from artifact domains, and each artifact domain has 2 5-star artifacts from 2 sets that you can earn there. Bosses usually only give 2 different sets, Gladiator's Finale and Wanderer's Troop. IR 45 is considered to be the starting point for farming 5-star artifacts, so I wouldn't recommend starting before then. There are 2 other ways to get artifacts, but I wouldn't recommend that for new players. Thank you so much for watching this short video, and in the future, I'll try and make more in-depth videos. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day!